You ready, bro?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the dumbest guy in the room. I'm your host, Bill McDale, and today we have a guest who is a longtime friend. We've known each other pretty much since high school. A little bit of a separation in the middle there, which is what we're going to kind of focus on today. So, with all due respect to my man Eddie Carroll. How you doing today, Ed?
I'm good, man. Good. Tired, but good.
Yeah.
You know?
What makes you tired? Not the kids, right?
Oh, no, never. That's definitely not the kid.
So tell me a little bit, Ed. So back in high school, I mean, I lived with you and your parents for a while.
Yeah, almost a year, I think. Something like that.
It was a long
I know
time.
You were going to school across the street at Franklin Mills at the time and shit.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
I think I was in CHI.
Uh-huh.
It was actually pretty convenient at the time.
Yeah.
Wasn't Fat Dan there too?
He was there for a while, too. I think Baldwin stayed there for a little while, too. He got kicked out for a little bit. Yeah, there was.
Your house was the go-to.
Yeah.
Your house was the go-to. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. So tell me a little bit about how you got. What's the first time that you remember picking up a drink or drug, and what was it?
The first time
That you can remember.
Around like 5th grade.
5th grade?
Yeah, somewhere around there. It happened to be a block party. My Aunt Vose's older brother Frankie took us to a keg party in Potters during our block party. We just dipped off the street, left our bikes on the corner, and just left with him. Gone for a couple hours. We come back. There's block parties on lockdown. There's cops. They think we got kidnapped because our bikes are just sitting at the corner, gone. So then that was the first time I ever drank. Wasn't a huge fan, but like it was more that I was attracted to like the atmosphere, like the vibe that like that party. You know what I mean? Like,
Potters.
Yeah.
Was it? Do you remember it being very similar to like when we were in high school? Like that, was it that type of atmosphere still?
Yeah.
So it really never changed from
no.
kind of just got passed down
to
the generation.
Yeah.
I don't think they really do it much anymore today.
No, there's no way.
I think it's kind of moved on from alcohol.
Yeah.
So that day, did you? Was it beer that you were drinking?
Yeah.
Because I remember the Eddie Carroll at Potters bringing his own cup.
Yeah.
Bring his own red cup to the kegs.
Then it got to the point where I was just bringing like an actual like plastic cup. It's because I just didn't give a shit.
I know. You didn't care, dude. No. You brought your own cup. You filled it up at the keg. Never paid.
No.
And
for years.
I know.
Never paid.
And you were known for that, and everybody knew it too.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared.
Yeah,
so for anyone listening that doesn't know what Potters is, can you explain kind of what that Potters atmosphere was like?
So it's just like a giant field that kind of butts up to like a decent sized patch of woods. And so like the actual field itself was it was like a burial for, I believe that people didn't have like a name, like John Doe, Jane Doe type thing.
Yeah.
So then they just put those type of people here. That's somewhere along the line they took them all out, but the name stayed.
Right. I think that's what a Potter's field is. Like there's multiple Potters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Till later in life.
Yeah. We thought we had the only one.
I thought it was just a Potter's field, dude. It was kind of weird. So at what age were like you going kind of to these?
Like steadily, probably like 8th grade. Like 8th grade, like pretty steadily going to drink on the weekends.
So 8th grade up until about when would you say?
Probably like once like senior year stopped, like then we started like hanging out like people's houses and shit like that. So like that kind of like stopped. Like the only time we drank in like the woods was like Thanksgiving and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like like tradition.
I I definitely remember
It'd be
those
cold as
days.
shit. Drinking in the woods sucked at that point, but it was more about the tradition than it was like drinking outside. You know what I mean?
What would you say most attracted you to alcohol and kept you kind of going? And at what point did it escalate?
Um, what attracted me was like the feeling, and then like the freedom that you would feel from that feeling. Like you just didn't give a shit. Like there was like you get so many drunks, you start to feel like you get that warm fuzzy feeling, and you're just like, fuck it. You
Right.
just don't care anymore. So like that attracted me in the beginning, and then it was more so like it was like everyone was doing it. You know what I mean? So it was just like, all right, whatever. Like then it got to the point where like I'd rather go freaking smoke a blunt and just chill. You know what I mean? Maybe grab like a couple beers, but like not get shit faced all the time. You know what I mean? But then like it was just like, all right, well, all my boys are going to this party. All right, whatever.
So you would go.
Yeah.
Right. It was more like, from what my experience, dude, like alcohol was always more of a, it gave me confidence,
Yeah.
right, in myself. Where until I had some drinks in me, dude, I really couldn't do anything. Get a couple drinks in you, dude, and you'd feel like you're
Right.
the man. Now, for me, I kind of stayed, and that's kind of where we drifted apart.
Yeah.
Because I always chased the alcohol.
Yeah.
I was chasing a party. I never really liked smoking weed.
Right.
And I dabbled with everything else, but never really, drugs were never like a thing in my life. You know, it was more or less like the end of nights. But you, on the other hand,
Yeah.
went that other route.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time that you were introduced to a drug, the drug of your
I was
choice?
introduced to weed somewhere around 7th grade.
Okay.
So I know when I hit 8th grade, like I was smoking pretty consistently, definitely on the weekends. And then high school, it was like an everyday thing. But probably around like 7th grade was like the first time I actually like smoked weed. And then it just kind of blossomed in high school to like dabble, like, as you know, like freaking Ryan, it was, I'd never cut school ever. Why, for what?
Right.
Everything I needed was there. It was so easy to get what I needed in school. I just had to walk down the hallway,
Right.
go to the bathroom. You get whatever you needed. So like it was like I don't need to cut school for what. So even on like my days off, like I remember like we would have off, but then like Washington would have school. I'd wake up in the morning, hop on the bus with like PZAC stuff. Like they would cut school, and then we would just go get freaking high all day long.
He at least, I went to school with Pizak at Washington. He would at least go to the school.
Yeah, he would check in and walk right out the back door.
Yeah, at one point, dude, I just stopped completely going. Washington was a joke, bro.
Yeah. He would
Ryan
walk in the
was
front,
different.
Check in and walk right out the back.
Yeah, it was like you were there.
Yeah.
And you got credit for it. And Washington was a joke, bro. Way different than Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan, you really couldn't cut because...
Yeah. Unless you just straight up just didn't go. Like, you couldn't
Right,
just,
but
like,
you're-
go in and walk out.
And your parents would still, like, notify your
Yeah,
parents.
yeah.
At Washington, dude, they didn't care at all.
Yeah.
Even in the classes I was taking, dude, you would sit in the class and like two of my classes, the teacher had absolutely no control.
Yeah.
They just sat there, didn't teach anything, and then the assignments for the day were always like, just pick a page out of the textbook and rewrite it.
Yeah.
That was what you learned. Take a page from the textbook and rewrite it.
Yeah.
It's a complete joke, way different. So when throughout high school, it seems like it was more of a
Dabbled pretty much in everything, except, like, real hard shit. Like, I didn't get into, like, crack and meth or anything like that.
What was your
Like
drug
heroin.
of choice?
It was opiates. So I really enjoyed like ecstasy and stuff like that. Like the MDMA. Always had a blast. I liked shrooms. I never had a bad trip. I always surrounded myself with chill, like good people.
Right.
So I never had a bad experience on them. Always kept it small and just had like very close people that I knew I could be around during those type of like encounters. So then once I got to junior, senior years when I started doing like Vicodin, Percocet pretty heavily. So then like the next, I would say 4 years after high school, it was pretty strictly opiates. So I had some bad times with like Xanax, because like you're functioning but you black out, you don't remember a damn thing.
Right.
So
you
like,
think you're functioning.
Yeah. So like one of the last times I'll never forget was we were at Yanni's house for a party. I remember taking like a bunch of Xanax, drinking, and I remember sitting on his couch, and that was the last thing I remember. And then the next thing I know, I'm out front, bunch of people around, and apparently I fought somebody. I had no idea. I'm like, what the fuck happened? So I couldn't even, I was so messed up, I couldn't even read the street sign. I had to spell it out for my mom to come pick me up.
Really?
Yeah. I got to the corner, and I couldn't even read the street sign. I had to spell it out for her, and then she came and picked me up. So, like, the next day, I'm like, what the fuck happened? I got a black eye. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, what happened? So then I'm calling around, and then apparently like, I pulled like a knife out on Yanni at his own house. Don't remember any of it. So then I got to call him. I got to apologize, because, like, that's not me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now I got to apologize to these people for something I don't remember doing. But, like, that's how screwed up I was. I don't even remember.
Yeah, dude, it takes you down
And
a
I'm
long...
like, what the fuck? What if I killed him?
It's a scary thought.
And I don't remember any of it.
It's a very scary thought.
So, like, that was the last time. I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like,
right.
That was the very last time I ever touched, like a Xanax, or like anything like that. Like the, what was it? Like, they call them tombstones and shit like that. Like, I'd never touched them again. That was the very last time, because I was like, dude, these are bad.
So, that sounds like an actual terrible experience.
Yeah,
do you remember the feeling? Do you remember the feeling that you had after the fact?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like the remorse and like the guilt. Cause like I never had a problem with Yanni. You know what I mean? Like, he was always a good kid. Was always nice to me. Was always polite. So like I never had any issues with this dude. So then for that to happen, and then I had to like man up, like apologize. I gotta call it, because at first he didn't even want to talk to me, which is completely understandable.
Right.
And then like we talked, and like everything was good, but like to even like have to go about doing that is just crazy. And like at that time, it's like the remorse, but it's like, oh.
And then to pick up
normal,
again.
You know what I mean?
It was, dude. It really was. Like back then, like I remember doing things like that, and it got to a point where doing stupid shit was just like normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like doing things like that, like forgetting, and it's kind of sad.
Like, so from high school until like 25, so we're talking almost 8 years. It's a blur. I don't remember anything.
I'm with you.
I remember very bits and pieces. If you're going to tell me a story, it has to be so freaking detailed that like you pretty much got to write a novel out just for me to remember. Like, oh yeah.
Dude, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like a lot of my memories from back in the day aren't my memories.
Yeah.
They are me. They're memories of people telling me stories.
Yeah.
Right? Like most of my stories are from other people saying. So I don't even know if it all actually happened.
Yeah.
Because I personally don't remember it, but I've been told so many different stories that like it is my reality now. So whether or not it's true or not,
Like my wife.
it's my reality.
Like, so we were in the same graduating class.
Dude, I don't remember her.
Seeing her. She was first track. I was fourth track. There was no shot. You know what I mean? That like we were gonna run into each other. But apparently,
But you did.
We did. We did run into each other, and I remember seeing her. But like that's it. Apparently, I talked to her. I hit on her, which I'm not surprised about. But like, I don't remember ever talking to her. Not once.
I don't remember her at all.
I remember her best friend because we had the same homeroom, and she sat like right behind me or something like that. So like I remember her best friend, and like that's why like we would run into each other, because she would use her locker. So like I remember like seeing her, but I don't remember ever talking to her.
Actually talking to her.
Never.
From the drugs, dude.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
I mean, how often were you going to school high?
Every day.
Right.
Every single day.
So how could you remember?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. And
then like it was the same thing. I would get high on the way to school, and then I would sleep, eat lunch, probably get high somewhere along the line. I know when I had like gym, I would continue the high. I would be the first one in there, go to the back showers, smoke, be the last one out. I'd run everybody's pockets. I would just rob everybody every single day. Everyone got hit. And they knew it was me, and they just never said anything. They never freaking, I don't know, they didn't have the balls or what, I don't know. But every single day, I'd do the same thing every day. Get in, get high, steal everything, come running out, the last one out of the locker room. And everyone knew it was me, and then they just never said anything.
And they never cared.
No.
At what point do you think you've realized you had a problem? When did you, like, when was it like, oh, dude, this isn't fun anymore?
When I got bad into the Percocets, and I started stealing like jewelry from my mom. So I took, like, the very first time I went to rehab, the reason I got caught was I took I believe it was 25th wedding anniversary ring. And I took it to Cash for Gold kiosk or a little thing in the mall across the street. Freaking like probably like $400 or $500 ring. I got like $60 for it. Yeah, cool.
They prey on people. They prey on addicts, dude.
Give me my money. Let's go. I got shit to do. Luckily, the very next day, she comes busting in my room at like 8 in the morning because she's getting ready for work 7, 8 in the morning with a baseball bat.
Your mom?
Yeah. Where the fuck is my ring? I'm like, oh. So, like, obviously, I sit there. It's like I'm running through shit in my head. Like, how can I lie?
How do I lie?
Yeah,
how do I get out of this?
How do I lie? Nothing. So then, at that point, you know, like, we just...
Were you out of money, too?
Up. Yeah, we just own up to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's across the street. I freaking pawned it for gold, for cash, whatever. So then we went over there. Luckily, they still had it because it was literally... I think it was like within 12 hours that, like, I did this. That, like, they still had it in the bag, like, across the street. So then she had to give the $60 back to get the ring back.
They actually did that.
Yeah. So they gave her the ring back, and I believe that day or the next day, they forced me to go to rehab. And like that was like my only out. It was like, all right, whatever, 30-day vacay. And this rehab that I went to was a joke.
Where was it?
Kennett Square.
Okay.
It's called Bowling Green out in Kennett Square. Shithole. The detox was new. The rehab itself, like the step down, was a fucking getaway. It's like Motel 6. There was mice. Like, it was fucking shit. And like, I get there, you see a doctor. Usually you go through the intake part. You see a doctor, yada, yada, yada. This doctor goes, at the time I was just doing like Percocet, he goes, all right, so you can do Suboxone or methadone. I got an option?
I got the pick?
So, me being an addict, I'm like, I know methadone's going to get me more fucked up. Let me get the methadone. All right, you want a 6-day taper or 8-day taper? I got to take it longer? Give me the 8-day. Oh, do you have any other issues? Yeah, to make some bullshit up, I'll give you Valium too. So I'm getting more high in my detox than I was outside. Every day.
Because it's free.
Yes. And then, like, later on, I find out, like, this kid that lives close by, like, local, is freaking getting, like, drugs smuggled into the freaking rehab.
How long was this place around?
I don't know. Apparently a while.
And this was your first experience, too.
I'm like, I'm sleeping
You almost fell in love.
I'm sleeping with chicks. I'm getting high. I got laid once a week.
Got high for free.
Got high for free.
A bed to sleep in.
Yeah. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
So how long were you there for?
28 days. I got kicked out because we threw a pizza party. Somehow somebody found a Yellow Pages to like, and got like a pizza place locally and got like 30 pizzas and like 200 wings delivered to the rehab.
And they kicked you off on it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're not allowed to get food delivered
to a rehab? Yeah. I don't know, dude. I never been to a rehab.
So
you're not allowed
they found like a dozen wings in my room because I was like saving them for later.
How don't they?
That's what I got kicked out for. Not all the other shit. How did you get
the food though? Like what?
We would just walked out.
So you can go out the door and stuff.
Delivery guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go out like smoke and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like we flagged the delivery guy down. Like you. and he just brought it over to us. And then, like, that's what I got in trouble for. And it was like they kicked me out like 12 o'clock at night. So, and like it's fucking an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away. So I'm like, they're like, call your mom. I'm like, I'm not calling my mom. For what? I called her, told her what happened, and I'm like, she's not fucking coming to pick me up. Somebody here, I'm either staying, or somebody here is driving me all the way to hell home. So that's what they did. They got somebody to come in and drive me all the way home. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not leaving
For a pizza party.
Yeah.
For me, dude, that kind of.
So like that's what I told my mom, and she's like, "There's no fucking way. You're lying to me." So then I had to get this guy on the phone to tell her that I'm getting kicked out for having a pizza party.
It sounds insane.
Yeah.
It sounds insane.
Meanwhile, there's drugs getting smuggled into this friggin' place. People are having sex.
And they're just
left and right.
diagnosing it.
Yeah.
And they're just diagnosing you and letting you pick your treatment.
Pretty much. That's why like this place was a joke. This is so fucking poorly ran.
I feel like places like that, dude,
They had
prey on
yeah.
the what word am I looking for? Relapse.
Yeah. So like the counselors,
They could care
had some
less.
good counselors, but the place itself. So like they were so outnumbered, they filled the beds like there was no tomorrow, and they were understaffed. So you get all these addicts in one spot, undersupervised. There's not enough staff to fucking keep track of all these people.
Right.
There's got to be 50 to 60, maybe 70 dudes. Same with girls in his rehab. And the 8 staff members, if that.
What did they do, like in rehab? So I never been to rehab. What do they actually do within the rehab? So if you had all those people with, how many counselors would you say there was?
Probably 4.
So 4 counselors would. Let's just
And you would
we'll
have,
go with the
like,
low
it would
numbers,
be
say
like, it
70.
would be like groups of like 10.
Okay, so they put you in groups of 10.
Somewhere
And what do they
around there,
do?
yeah.
Like, what do they do to?
It gets you to talk about like yourself and like what do you want to do with your life? What, you know what I mean? Like this typical like therapy type questions where like they try and get you to look at yourself.
Which you need to,
Yeah.
right?
But like the majority of these people aren't there for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they're
Especially
there
the first time.
because either court or my parents to get my parents off my back. Or, like it's you know what I mean. So Ryan Goodwin was there. I'm freaking walking. I just got there. I'm walking down the hallway in the detox. All I hear is "Yo!" I'm like, what the fuck? I'm out in the middle of fucking nowhere. This dude's sitting out front of the nurse's desk. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
That dude was a nut.
Yeah.
That dude was crazy.
So that's how that first rehab went, dude. It was fucking crazy.
So I'm assuming that you got out.
Yeah.
And you started doing drugs
within a week.
Within a week?
Yeah, probably.
And then
somewhere around there.
Where did your life go from there?
It didn't change. Like it just continued to spiral down. The drugs, the drug use just got worse. Was pretty much working to support my habit. Like I would pay my rent to my parents, whatever that was, and then like the rest was going to drugs. I would pay for gas, my car insurance, the rest is all going to drugs. I'm selling drugs just to support my habit. I'm not making anything off of it. I'm just doing it so I can get high for free. But then it got to a point where like I would just say I had 60 pills that I had to like sell to make like my money back so I can re-up. I'm buying my own shit off myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my paycheck. I'm like, oh, I'll do one more, always one more. You know what I mean?
And you never.
And then like comes to the time to re-up, and I'm like short. You know, what I mean? I was short money
to give them the money.
Yeah. So like it just spiraled downward, and then somewhere along the line, with the opiates, the perks got too expensive. Then I started doing dope.
Okay. Do you remember the first time that you started doing dope?
Not really. It was all kind of a blur. I know I started sniffing it in the beginning. Thinking that was better. You know, we justify everything.
Everything. And
so
you're always better than the next guy.
In my head, I was able to justify doing it.
Well, because you see somebody else doing something that you're like, that's worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not as bad as that person.
Yeah. Well, guy, you're fucking sticking a needle in your arm.
Hey,
No shot.
what's wrong with that
That
guy?
was always I'll never do dope, and then I did dope. I'll never stick a needle in my, and then the next thing I know, I'm sticking a needle in my arm.
Which I could not imagine, man.
No.
I could not.
And then it took me to go into Florida to doing crack, because I never did crack up here.
So you were introduced to that down there.
Because the heroin was so bad. It was dog shit.
So you tried heroin down there?
I tried it.
When you were in rehab?
The halfway house.
Okay, so you were in a halfway house.
Yeah.
And
so
obviously it wasn't.
I did 30 days in South Jersey, 30 days in a rehab down there, and then I went to a halfway house.
Okay, and how long ago was this?
Now we're talking 7 years ago. So I got 6 years. So like this September coming up will be 7 years clean.
7 years? Well, congratulations. I'm coming up on 5 myself. Yeah. Feels like yesterday,
it
dude.
Does. It really
Doesn't
does,
it? It's just like time is
crazy.
Absolutely insane. So when you were in the halfway house, somebody, you tried the heroin. It didn't do what it was doing to you up here.
Yeah.
And then somebody got you hooked.
So then I tried crack. So I went on like a 2-week crack binge and fucking was smoking crack every day.
And how was that?
So like that, like it made me understand like with the chasing the dragon thing. So like that very first high is fucking unbelievable. And then you chase it. You still get high from it, but like it's never like the first time.
Right.
The first time was the best time. And then after that, like you get high, but like not that much. And then like you just try and smoke as much as you can to try and get that high again. But it's impossible. You can never reach that euphoria again. It's one and done. So like, and like it was just like, and then like I was always reckless. Like when I get high, I get reckless as shit, and I just don't care.
Confidence, man.
It was confidence, and I was just like, I don't know if it was like a white privilege thing, but like, what's the worst? I know I can get out of trouble. I'm white. I'm a male, and like, I exploited that. It's just like pulling like a race card. It's very similar. You exploit it. You use it. Use it wisely. That's how I got out of all the times I've been locked up. I don't have any. You look at my record, you pull it up. There's nothing on there, unless like you're like a state. Like I got my carry and conceal license, and it took a while to get back because they can still see everything that was expunged on my record.
Yep. Even
though it's expunged, they can still see it. So like there was like a little delay for me to be able to get it. So my thing was, I get locked up, sit in the jail cell for however long, go right to rehab. Court comes, oh, the judge, you're trying to do better, you're trying to better your life, yeah. All right, pay this fine. It was always a fucking fine, and maybe do some community service here and there. Not all the time. There was a couple of times I had to do community service, but then I would just have Mrs. Vos sign a piece of paper because she worked at.
She did that for me too, dude.
So,
actually, shit, I forgot about that.
That and then
I forgot about that.
Don't get locked up in 6 to 9 months. We'll take it off your record. Cool. I don't get locked up for 6 to 9 months. Gets taken off my record. 3 months later, get locked up again. Do the same thing. Get out. Go right to freaking rehab. Go see the judge. Oh, you're trying to better yourself. It was the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I exploited that. So then it was the same thing. Don't get arrested 9 to a year, 9 months to a year. We'll take it off your record. Cool. I want to get arrested for 9 to 12 months. Take it off my record. A couple months later, locked up again. It was the same thing. It just keeps going
consistently. It's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah. And then like the one time I got locked up, I remember specifically was in Ben Salem. I dropped you off. I believe you were living here at the time. I was going back to Caprell's. I think I grabbed perks somewhere, either before I dropped you off or after I dropped you off. And I was going back to Caprell's, and somebody robbed the 7-Eleven right here on Street Road. I fit the description.
Dude, I remember. I vaguely remember this, but I did not remember it until you just brought it up again, dude.
So I get to...
Wasn't it like in his driveway, too?
Yeah, I'm out front of his house, dude. His mom and stuff are walking down the driveway. Him, Card, his mom, they're all walking down the driveway. I'm freaking getting put in the back of a cop car. And I'm like... And like the one time when I got arrested, I got locked up in Card's backyard.
Hiding in his
in the
shed,
shed,
right?
yeah. Because I had Dylan going in the house to get clothes for me, so I could change clothes. And I like, if I got those clothes, I was just gonna walk down the street. Because they were looking for a dude in black shorts and a white T-shirt.
Why didn't he get you the clothes, dude?
He did. He comes out the back door. There's 10 cops in the backyard.
They already found you.
And this idiot's standing there with clothes.
He's in there, guys.
I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, how long was it to find shorts? But so no, like they all walked out. They were walking out the backyard. The very last cop goes, "Oh, anyone check the shed?" Dude opens up the friggin' door. I scared the shit out of him because he wasn't expecting anybody to be in there. So then they grabbed me, friggin' pulled me out, handcuffed me, kicked the shit out of me for making them run. Friggin' start stomping me, throw me in the back of the cop car. Terry comes out. I'm like, call my mom. Cops yelling at her to get away from him. I'm like, yo, fuck you. Like, go call my mom. Tell her to come pick me the hell up. I was like, I'm not going to be there long.
You were under 18 at that point, right?
Yeah, so that's why I knew. I'm like, I'm not going to be here long.
Right.
Call my mom. Tell her to come pick me up. She knows where I'll be. Come pick me up.
Was it the first time you were ever arrested?
No. I was locked up, arrested. Well, before that, that was like sophomore year. I think I got arrested like freshman year out at Franklin Mills. I believe it was undercover cop got me for a weed.
Okay.
That was I was well up there with freaking Pat Trampy.
Damn it.
And Turkey Mike, I believe.
And Turkey
We were going to get weed, yeah. We were going to get blunts or something. Remember the gas stations, the Indians do it.
Yeah,
they didn't give a shit.
I remember that.
Gave
The
blunts to
Exxon up
everybody.
there?
Yeah.
I remember them days.
So we went up there and this dude at the gas station, like he's like pumping gas, fucking black dude. He's got like a goddamn tracksuit on, fat white chick in the passenger seat. You need weed? As a matter of fact, I do. I grabbed like 4 nicks off him. I turn around, this freaking cops pull up. Whoop! I'm like, fuck.
I think that's insane, dude. That cops can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have drugs on them.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
like that should be illegal
and then,
on
like,
its own.
they knew he sold. Like apparently they were watching. They knew he sold me the drugs. They let him go, and then got me.
Oh, so they were just watching it.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, this dude had to be an undercover.
Right. Because they should have gotten him.
Yeah.
And not the.
Yeah.
Right. Not the person buying them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So after.
So that was the very first time.
Okay. How many times were you arrested? I couldn't even tell you how many times that was.
5 or 6.
That's a lot.
Around there.
It's a lot, and then nothing on your record. I'm the same way. I don't have anything on my record. It all got expunged except I have that aggravated assault that was self-defense, and that shows up as it's on there. It just says not guilty, which I think is kind of crazy. Like you have to supposedly I can pay money and get it expunged, but people still see that. Like just because it says not guilty doesn't mean somebody's not gonna judge you when somebody sees something like that. You know what I mean? It's I don't understand that part of the system at all. Yeah. So when you were in Florida, you went on the
I was doing good.
Crack binge, and then what?
So I was doing good, and then I don't know, somewhere along the line, I was like, fuck it. Like, for some reason, I wanted to get high. So then I went on, like, me and my roommate wound up going on, like, a 2-week crack binge. We failed a drug test. They gave us, like, 48 hours to clean ourselves up, drug test us again. And neither of us stopped. Came up hot again. And this time, there was even more drugs in our system. So like the first time it was like 2 drugs like that we came up hot on. We continued to get high, and we also did like a couple other drugs, and so then we lit the board up. Like we came up hot for like 5 different drugs. I owned up to it. He didn't. And then they were like, call your mom, see if she can put you in a hotel till we figure out what we're going to do. I said no. They're like, what do you know? I said, no, I'm not. I've called my mom to bail me out so many fucking times. I'm not doing it. I'm a grown man. It's my fault. And I said, what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. I'll rob whoever. I'll break into that abandoned house down the block, stay in there. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll do what I got to do to survive. And they were like, the owner of the house was like, this kid's fucking crazy. So he's like, pack your shit. You're coming with me. So I stayed at his house for like 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. He made me come he took me to his work. I had to freaking sit there while he worked for 7 hours because he didn't trust me being at home at his house by myself, which is understandable.
Right.
I definitely would have been going through some shit. So then that happened for 3 days. They had a whole house meeting. I had to sit out front of the house while they had a meeting in the back, like all the guys of the house and like the manager and stuff like that, and they allowed me to come back.
Okay. So they had a meeting just to see if they should let you stay.
Like was like just would not man up to it. Just kept denying. No. I'm like, dude, you failed the drug test.
Yeah.
Twice.
Well,
and like
you know the sickness, man.
Yeah. So like they
right.
I was like,
nothing's our fault.
What's the worst going to happen? You're going to get kicked out regardless. Just own up to it. Who gives a shit? What do you care that they know that you got high? Like, all right, yeah, I got high. Who gives a fuck?
Shit, the demon's
I didn't
name.
give a shit about what these people thought.
I get it.
So then they let me back in. And that was my clean date is September 8th. So like I didn't count that when they first let me back in because I knew there was shit still in my system. The day I got drug tested was September 8th. On that day, I passed for a clean urine, and that's what I count as my clean date.
Okay.
Even though like I didn't use drugs for about a week prior to, I wanted to wait till everything was out of my system to consider myself clean. So then that's what I count as my clean date.
Okay. And what do you think? Like, why do you think that was your clean date? Why didn't you ever go back? What do you think drove you to that?
So prior to that last time I got arrested for one bag of heroin down off of Kensington and Allegheny. And I sat in a roundhouse fucking dope sick overnight and got out the next morning. I was sick as fuck in that bitch. It was like the worst. Like it was like the first time like suicide actually crossed my mind. I would fuck around, but like I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like work sucked today. You know what I mean? But like never like actually like. But like this is the first time it actually crossed my mind. Like legitimately.
It? Right.
And one of the main reasons I didn't do it was because a couple weeks prior to my cousin did that in jail. So he was in and out of jail his entire life. He spent X amount of years in jail or prison, and when he got out, he was like, I'm never going to fuck back. So he did some stupid shit, got locked up, and while he was in jail waiting to be sent somewhere else, he hung himself.
Really?
Because he's like, I'm not going to fuck back. So that was one of the main and only reasons I'm like, this fucker beat me to the punch. I can't friggin' do it. This dude just did. I can't put my family through this again.
Right.
It just happened.
And I feel like at that point I know for me, when you witness somebody else doing it, the feeling that you get, right?
Yeah.
Because it hurts, and it's like, it's almost like you're attacked.
I've seen like how his mom was and stuff like that.
And you don't want to put your parents.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like that's when the empathy finally kicks in.
And like I was just so sick and tired. Like I just didn't have it in me anymore to like continue to run and get fucked up and do all the grimy shit. I just didn't have it in me. I was exhausted. I was so tired. So I got out. When they let me out the next morning, my sister and my dad came pick me up. My sister seen me. I was all fucked up. She's crying. We went to her house in Jersey because I went to a rehab in South Jersey. I got a shower and then they dropped me off. And one of the last things my dad said to me before he dropped me off was, if you fuck up again, I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear from you. I'll pray for you, but that's it. I'm done. Now get the fuck out of my car. Went into the rehab, and like that was the last time I seen him for a while. So I'm I seen him when I got out of that rehab. I went home for like 3 hours, packed a bag, and jumped on a plane, went to Florida. I was only home for like 3 hours, and then because I wasn't allowed home,
right.
I couldn't go anywhere else. So then somehow they got me into a rehab, an extended stay down in Florida. So then I went there for another 30 days. And it was like a step down unit kind of like a rehab, where like you were in a house with 4 other dudes. It wasn't like an actual rehab, like it was a house. It was like a step down unit type thing, and you had to like keep yourself more accountable and it was you and like 4 other dudes, and you would go to like meetings and freaking whatever the hell else. And after that, I did 30 days there, and then I went to the rehab. I mean, went to the halfway house. After that, I was there for like 6 months. I was clean for like 6 months. Then that's when a relapse happened with the crack. And then got clean, stayed for another 6 months, and then I came home.
So you were only there for about 6 months.
Well, I was down in Florida for like a year, just shy of a year. So
With a mishap in the middle.
yeah.
Okay,
So
the
then I was
relapse in the
only,
middle.
but when I came home, I only had 6 months clean.
Okay. Was that scary for you? Coming home? Like, were you...
It was scary, but like there was just like I had like this feeling of like I'm gonna be okay. I just like that last 6 months, like I really actually like put in work. To where like I had like a good foundation. To where like I was scared but comfortable to come home. Like I knew it was time. Even if I didn't go home back to Philly, I was going somewhere. I just knew my time was up in Florida. Like I had to do something else. Like I was too stagnant. If that continued, I probably would have went back to getting high. Like I had to keep it moving. Because it was getting very stale, and I didn't see any growth or any opportunity there. There isn't a lot of well-paying jobs unless you want to be like a scumbag and do like a call room or some bullshit.
Right.
Which a lot of people do, and a lot of those people relapse.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent point that I really never put with my sobriety, but like to me, throughout my sobriety, I kind of looking for my purpose. Like, what is the meaning of all this? Like, why am I here? Right? And through that, dude, it's like just pursuing something.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm in pursuit of something, which is like progress and moving forward, I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Right? But I never really looked at like my sobriety like that, because when I first got sober, I did about the same thing. For some reason, I got I don't know what happened, but I called Fat Dan randomly and was like, yo, dude, I need help. He picked me up the next day. Yeah. We went to a meeting, and I stayed sober for about 6 months. Not even 6 months, it was like 3 months. And I started drinking again for 6 months. And then it just spiraled out of control until I, started to put in work at the meetings.
Right.
And then I was pretty steady at the meetings for a good period of time. But we did 2 different programs, right? I did AA and you did NA.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you decided to do NA over AA? Is there any
So when I was in Florida, I did strictly AA.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an all men's home group in Boca, and it was like mainly because of like the guys that I was hanging out with in my halfway house were all, at the time I was 25, they were all like 30, 35 plus.
Right.
With a few years under their belt. Like I seen what they had, and like that's what I wanted. You know what I mean? I knew I didn't want to hang out with, nothing against them, but like people that were in my same boat, couple months clean. What do you have to offer me?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna learn it. We're in the same fucking boat. I'm not gonna learn anything from you. So I hung out with people that had time, and I knew like when I came back, I knew before I even came back that I was gonna switch to NA. So before I even went, I was in and out of the rooms NA. As you know, like up here, especially like my age and older, a lot of those guys were in NA.
Right.
So like I knew them from the rooms. Like I knew like especially Parkwood, the freaking 80% of the people that are either in AA or NA, like that we hung out with, that we know, like a huge amount. Like statistically,
it's sad,
it's
dude.
crazy.
It's really sad.
Crazy.
There's not
a lot of people that aren't.
Right. There's really not.
So I knew that like I was gonna go back to NA because I was more comfortable there. It's more of a comfortable
Because
thing.
of the people?
Yeah. So like I knew I could go back there and like because it was gonna be uncomfortable for me to even come back. So like I knew like it would make it a little easier of a transition to have that little comfortability.
Right.
Because at the time there wasn't a lot of people that I knew in AA here. I knew way more in NA. So that was the main reason, like that kind of solidified me going to NA, and then like right now, like I'm not doing anything. To be honest, I'm not going to meetings. I don't have a sponsor. I don't have a home group. I'm just fucking doing me. I'm going about my life. I'm fucking working. The difference is why I think I'm not getting high or relapsing or whatever you want to call it. I keep myself accountable. I keep myself honest, even if I might not be honest to other people. I'm honest to myself. And then like that main thing is like I don't want my child to ever see me like that.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing, man, that I am most grateful for. Yeah. My kids, Liam was probably, I think Liam was about 1 when I got sober, so he's never seen me intoxicated in his entire life. He hasn't seen it.
Yeah. And
he never will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, I'll tell you one thing, because I went to an NA meeting with you before up at Parkwood. That was the first time I ever went to NA. And it's a different feeling in there, right?
Yeah.
It's I remember going up there, you know, everyone's going to give me hugs and saying they love you.
Yeah.
And I came there, I'm like, dude, what is with this?
Yeah.
And I think Vinny Vos was there, and he goes, he's like, well, dude, here it's a little different than A, because if we relapse, we most likely are going to die.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see them again.
Yeah, statistically, yeah.
And I was like, damn. Yeah. So it's like we always just tell each other we love them. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, man. It was a way different atmosphere.
Yeah.
But for me, do you remember when you stopped going to meetings? COVID hit, so like, and you kind of stopped. Did they stop running them?
Dropped. But I always had a home group and went to my home group. Even if I didn't go to other meetings.
Which was like once a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I always went to my home group. And then COVID happened, and like a lot of meetings are at like churches or schools and stuff like that, to where like they were shut down, so they weren't having meetings. So everything went to Zoom. I'm an in-person kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole camera, FaceTime, Zoom thing. It's not me. It's not who I am. So I tried it. I couldn't get into it, and so it kind of turned me off.
It's definitely not the same.
No. Because
I've seen some of those remote, even before COVID, they've always had those kind of remote areas for people to go to meetings, and I never really understood it. I don't know. I wonder how COVID hit with the opiate pandemic as well. Like I wonder if people got worse, especially if you can't go to meetings, dude. Like that was my big thing with the meetings. Yeah. Is I always overextend myself. I do things in excess, and I do them. I just never stop. Once I find something that's my thing, and I just do it in excess. Yeah. And meetings, dude, I'd go all day. Yeah. Every day, all day. And at one point, I got to this thing, and I was like, these people are here. And, dude, AA saved my life. I have nothing but respect for AA. I think the people in AA need to be there. Yeah. They've saved people, and that could be their purpose. Yeah. But some of the people in there, dude, like, all they wanted was to be sober. Yeah. And that was it.
I wouldn't have what I have now if it wasn't for AA.
Me either.
They gave me the strong foundation that I had, and was able to switch over to NA and keep that foundation to where, like, no matter what happened, I felt like I was going to be okay. No matter, like, over the last 6 years and almost 7 years, so much shit has happened. Mm-hmm. So much death, loss, between my family, my wife's family, and like I'm still able to come out the other side, still clean, still sober, and not have to pick up. And if it wasn't for AA, like teaching me and like giving me that foundation, there's no shot
Nope.
that I would have been able to stay sober and clean through this.
Right.
No way.
Same thing, dude. Same thing. Like when my dad passed away,
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have dealt with that
Like
if I was still drinking.
It was like your aunt, your dad, like a lot happened quickly.
Very fast.
So like, and like that was like kind of like how like it was for us, and it was like, if it wasn't for that, there's no way. Like, there's 100%, I would have been getting high, drinking something.
There's definitely something
100%.
to say for the steps
Yeah.
and for the foundation that AA and NA, because they're very similar,
Yeah.
they provide people.
Yeah.
In general, dude. Like I tell everybody, I'm like, if you followed AA, like if you use this, and even if they're not alcoholics,
Yeah.
it could benefit your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
In like, it's insane.
And you can like relate. Like, so I took a lady to it was a convention, and this dude that was speaking, I forget like the exact topic, but like it was just so relatable, and like the feelings, and like I look over, she's crying because she can relate to how this guy was feeling.
Yep.
Not an addict at all. Doesn't, she drinks but rarely.
It's the pain, man.
And like she's at a freaking NA convention crying to this dude's story because she can relate to him. And like
the
it's crazy.
actions, and that's what happened. I think like with everything, bro, music, movies,
Yeah.
anything that you watch that's grabbing you is because it's grabbing your emotions.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why everybody perceives everything differently, but everybody says it's relatable because all we're doing is kind of attaching ourselves to the emotion that's going on.
Right.
And that's why we're all very similar and different at the same time. The feelings are all the same.
Yeah.
But the experience is different, so the actions look different, but we all feel the same way.
That's what like people ask me now, like, do you believe in God? So I believe in a higher power, but like I'm not religious.
Right.
I'm spiritual. There's definitely something. So like my first spiritual encounter was down in Florida. The second time after the relapse, when I started to actually put in work, I was in AA. I got to my fourth step. I wrote on my fourth step. Spent like a week on it. Just I wasn't working. All I did for almost 7-8 hours a day was write on this bitch for a week straight. Went over it with my sponsor at the time. He said, "All right, now I want you to go home and pray and meditate for an hour." I said, "All right." I go home. I got a shower, go to my room, turn the lights out. I think I had like a candle or some shit in my room. Light the candle, got some meditation music going. Just trying to relax, quiet my mind. So I start meditating.
So you actually did it the first time somebody told you to do it.
Yeah.
See, I had trouble with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So like I had to like in my gut, like at this time I had like 3 months, but like I knew in like another 3 months like I was out of there. I already knew. Like I was like, I'm going home. I had fun down here. I gotta get the hell out of here. So like I'm meditating, and I don't know how long it took. All of a sudden, I just remember sitting at my desk, and I'm just listening, and I'm just quiet my mind, and I just got this warm feeling throughout my entire body, and I had like a vision, like in my head, like this is all going on in my head. Like it was almost like a dream, but like I'm awake. Like that's how detailed this was. Like a very vivid dream. All of a sudden, I'm in my parents' house, early 90s, where everything was still the same. Brown carpet. The basement still has like the wood paneling, couches. Like everything's exactly the same from my childhood. Nobody's home. I go upstairs. My grandfather's in his room. So like it's his house that we live in. Well, my parents that live in now. I go up the steps. He's on, and his room's exactly how it was when he was alive. Like everything. Dude sitting on the bed in his underwear, watching TV. And I look in, he's not hooked up to oxygen, like he's breathing fine, and like he's okay. So like in my mind, I'm like, all right, it's like there's something else after this. This is just preliminary. So I could hear him, he could hear me, but we're not speaking, but we can hear each other. And I'm freaking out. So I start crying, and I'm apologizing. He's like, what are you apologizing for? And he's telling me how proud of me, or how proud he is of me, and the man that I'm becoming. So we're talking, and he, like, I'm apologizing because I stole. My mom had like a few things of his, a watch, a couple rings, and like that was pretty much it. And I pawned those rings, took them, sold them. And he's like, dude, it's just material. Like it doesn't matter. He's like, I know your mom's upset. Like it doesn't matter. So all of a sudden, it's over, and I'm sitting there in the room, and I'm like, what the fuck? And like I'm crying like a fucking baby. So like, because like that whole time, like I never really got to say goodbye when he died.
How old were you when he died?
I was in 7th or 8th grade. My sister, I believe, was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
And me and her were home when he passed away. Like my mom was at the hospital and stuff, but like my aunt came to watch us, and we weren't allowed to go to the hospital and say goodbye. So like when he died, like I always like held on to, like, me and him were very close. And like I just like kind of like felt guilt like all those years. And then finally like that happened. And like it completely changed my perspective on things, on the afterlife, on like the spiritual aspect of things.
You start to believe again.
Yes.
In something.
In something, yes. Because like for the longest time, he was my higher power. I never say God. 12 years of Catholic school, I was like, fuck this dude.
Mm-hmm.
What has he ever done for me?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Totally relatable, dude.
What the fuck has he ever done for me? Like, me. So, like, I would always pray to him, or like I would talk to him. I would never talk to God. Until like after like this whole thing happened, and then I was like, but like it was just crazy because I'm like, everything like, and like I think like the reason he presented himself to me in that form was because like I would be most comfortable with that form. Because like what's to say like that wasn't God talking to my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? But like it can't be freaking God, you know what I mean? My fucking mind probably would explode.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he came through to me in that form because he knew I would be in such a loving, accepting place and just be happy to like talk to him like one last time. You know what I mean?
Was it the last time?
No, it's happened once since then. I've tried.
Really?
Yeah, I've tried to do it again. I haven't been able to do it. It's happened twice. That time, and I believe like a year later, I was able to do it one more time, and it was like the same scenario. All of a sudden, I was in the house. It was the same.
I haven't. See, dude, like I always had an issue talking about it with other people.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
it's nuts.
I feel like people can't understand it if it's never happened, right?
No.
So I had like an almost exact experience myself with my mom's dad, my grandfather. And listening to you and watching you tell that story, I can tell it's real.
Yeah.
Because I could see the emotion, and the same thing happens to me when I try to talk about it.
Yeah.
The only difference was you were meditating, right? Like you got into a state of mind where you didn't know what was going to happen, but you're like, they told me to do this, and this is what's going to happen. Where I was laying in bed, and that's how I would meditate, right? Because I was still afraid I would pray, but meditation in the dark room, I was still afraid to be alone with myself in that form. Because, it's a scary thing in the beginning. But I was laying in bed, and I put on I was with Kristen at the time, and I did put like meditation music on my phone. And when I would lay in bed for about an hour and play the music, but she was still right there. I laid down, and I just remember sitting up, and I looked around the room, and it was different. It was like my room from when I was a kid.
Right.
So I was like, this is really strange. I felt like I was dreaming, and I turned, and my grandfather was just sitting there. And he had a chess. We used to play chess when he would teach me how to play chess. And he had a chessboard out, and he just same thing, dude. I don't remember talking, but he was just explaining. I just kept asking him if this is real. I was like, is this really real? Is this real? And he was explaining life to me. And I'm not going to get into but he explained life through chess. Yeah. And I still have that. Like, if it wasn't that real, how would I have came up with this whole metaphor of life through a chess game? And how, the one thing specifically I remember about the game what he told me about chess was the queen, and how I need to take care of the queen, and the queen will be the most important piece of my life as long as I do right by her. And then I woke up, and I was sitting on the bed. So like I was really sitting on my bed, and I looked over at Kristen, and she was sleeping, and I woke her up, and I told her the story. Never told anybody else. I was like, I just can't. Yeah. It was so real. But ever since then, dude, like you said, it happened to you again. I'm afraid. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I want.
Right.
It was surreal.
Yeah. I think the reason I tried so hard to like do it again was because like I feel like I'd be more like better prepared, and like I have so many questions.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think that's like, why I'm afraid.
Like, there's so many things that like I need answers. I'm a very like impulsive person, and like I don't like waiting. I don't like not knowing. I need to know, and I want to know. So like if I can get it to happen again and ask these questions, like, I mean, it would probably change me forever, but like I need to know. You know what I mean? Like even if I don't need to know, like I need to know.
I feel like if it needs to happen, it will happen again. Yeah. Right. That's how I feel like it works.
Right.
It's like when with the way that I see it, I'm very spiritual too. I can't hook myself to a religion. I just feel like it's very.
And like I enjoy reading and like learning about other religions. Like I learn a lot, and like I read a lot, like about like I've always been interested in religion, and like multiple different religions. But like you said, like I don't think I would want to tie myself to one. Like I'm more of like a spiritual person. I have respect for all religions, and like there's bits and pieces of each and every one that I agree with and don't agree with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of how I kind of did my own thing and took pieces of each one, and like that's kind of what I go by.
And create your I'm with you, man. I just feel like, and I think that's a really big problem with today's society and religion, is like we're born, we are part of the religion that our parents were part of.
That's the
and
thing.
Now we're considered this, and it's never really.
Once in a while, you may convert to something else for your spouse.
Right. And it's funny because I think my grandfather, my mom's dad, converted for.
Probably.
I think he was something else and became Catholic for my grandmother.
Yeah.
Because he'd always had like issues with, from what I I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure my mom said that he's always had like these issues with the Catholic Church, and especially with like the pedophilia and things like that.
Right.
That he just
Yeah.
at points where like I don't really know, but he was very religious.
Right.
Which was your grandfather religious? The one that you remember, or that your mom remembered?
Not really.
No.
If he was, it was more of like Christmas, Easter type thing.
Right.
I think like he would pray, like he had like cross. It was more of like almost like kind of like an Italian type dude, like a mob type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the cross and shit, but like we're out here freaking doing dirt. You know what I mean?
And then ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Like he was kind of that. But like, was he going to church on Sundays and shit? Nah.
Yeah, my grandparents went religiously on every Sunday up.
Like my mom would
Anselm's.
go more than any of us. Since we went to Catholic school for 12 years, like I kind of just, I was turned off by it because I was forced to go. It wasn't a choice.
Yep, that's what I mean.
I never got that choice. Like I was forced to go and sit there. Then it was boring as shit.
Boring, man.
Boring
when you're a
as
kid,
shit.
it's boring. There's nothing.
And like some of like the stories were like cool, you know what I mean? But like other than that, like what else you got? You got some freaking priest giving their freaking sermon or whatever the fuck, talking about God knows what. He tries to like he reads some story like a gospel, and then tries to like make a story about it. But then like, all right, like you can make a story about it, but then like they go off the wall and they talk for freaking 45 minutes.
Yep.
About bullshit. And like, if you can't suck me in the first 3 minutes, like I'm done.
You know what I think, honestly?
It's like a preview for a movie. If you can't draw me in that first 2
It
minutes,
is.
I'm done.
And I think
I don't want nothing to do with it.
And I also think that like, so our grandparents would have had a way harder upbringing.
Yeah.
Considering what was going on in the world
Yeah.
then, right?
Yeah.
So I think that pain and suffering is what drew that generation to God, to religions.
So like you have to have like faith or like belief in something
through pain and suffering.
Yes.
Right?
It's one of the best things to help you get through it.
I think it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
I think pain and suffering is necessary. I think that is life, and then we get to experience happiness.
Yes.
I don't think...
But like I feel like the pain and suffering is like necessary, but like to go side by side with that, like you had to have faith and belief in something to get you through it.
Get through it. Yep. You have to have some type of foundation and belief system in place. And
because I feel like then that's where you get lost in the pain and suffering and like the sorrow, to where like you go down that rabbit hole of depression and like suicidal tendencies.
Mm-hmm. I've been there.
So like you lose that faith and like that like hope, and you feel all is lost. And then like that's why like I get the suicide thing, because it's like, if that's how you're feeling, why would you want to feel like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do I think it's selfish to take your own life? In ways, yes, but in other ways, no. Because like, why? I feel like it's selfish for me to be like, no, you're not allowed to take your own life because I need you here. I don't care that you're feeling like this, and this is how you're going to feel. You're not allowed to leave me. That's selfish.
I never thought about it that way. But you're right.
You know what I mean?
People
it's
that
like,
are calling it selfish are only upset because you just hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they made... Now you kind of feel
now you
like...
gotta look at it like, now they're happy. Now they're at peace. Now they don't have these feelings anymore. They... Like I said, like I definitely believe that there's something after this. So like now, like my grandfather had emphysema, COPD, was on oxygen all the time, 24/7. When I seen him, he doesn't need oxygen anymore. He's okay.
Right.
He can breathe. He can walk. He doesn't have to stop every 20 feet just to try and catch his breath. And that's how I feel like your mentality of like that, like the suicide, like the depression and stuff, like I feel like that's also lifted. It might not be like a physical ailment, but it's more of a mental ailment, but that's lifted from you after you pass. You don't feel like that anymore. So like, I'm being selfish, like trying to keep you here, but I should be happy that you're not feeling the way you were. All that pain and suffering and misery is lifted. Now you're happy. I'm happy you're happy. That's how we should be feeling.
Grateful.
Yeah.
Right?
Like your dad with cancer. In so much pain.
It was
It'll be so
it was hard,
selfish
man.
of us to be like, hook him up to the light, the vent, keep him on life support. For what?
Yep.
Just because I can't let go?
And dude,
I'm gonna let this man suffer in so much. Yeah, we can dope him up with morphine and shit, but like, that's no quality of life. Nobody should have to live like that.
you're right. It was hard to the last. As soon as he got the radiation, dude, and
yeah.
he just literally.
It screws a lot of stuff up. Yeah.
And you become really humbled
Yeah.
when you gotta wipe your dad's ass,
Yeah.
right? It's an experience that like really humbles somebody.
I had to do that for my mother-in-law. Well, not like wipe her ass, but I had to give her a sponge bath.
The feeling like the feeling that my dad had of me doing it was enough for him to be like, put me in, because he never wanted to go into hospice. He was in hospice here, and he's just like, put me in there. This, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And when he went in there, we had the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
The last day, me and my son went to visit him. We walked in, and he was totally out of it at this point. I knew it was coming soon. But at one point, he just woke up and he was talking about how he was at his brother's house and he was young. And I was like, "Oh, where are you sleeping?" He's like, "Oh, I'm in Brian's bed." I'm like, "What do you? Oh, you're in Brian's bed?" He's like, "Yeah. We're just here watching the games." And then he was out cold again. So to me, it was like he was already at peace, dude. Like he was brought back to his days where he.
I've heard that a lot.
I've heard that same thing.
Yeah.
They always, you go back.
Yeah.
And it's like you're back somewhere where we won't ever understand. It was very sad.
And like I've heard that like when it's your time, like when you're that close to death, the people that have passed on before you, your parents, whoever, siblings, whoever has passed on before you, are waiting for you.
In whatever that.
Whatever that's the area that is, whatever dimension, whatever, they're waiting for you to welcome you, so you're not lost, you're not scared. They bring you in.
Yeah, I got a crazy question for you.
Yeah.
I heard this. I heard somebody ask this question. It's kind of scary to think about. What if you never die?
I'd be pissed.
Right? So listen to this. Like, it sounds crazy, right?
I'd be pissed.
Do you think you die?
Yeah.
Prove it. What if everybody around you dies, but you are just immortal? It's a crazy question to think about, dude.
It is.
But what if it's not real? Right?
I mean, like, that is a good question. I mean, first off, I'd be fucking pissed. Because,
I'll be so mad, dude.
I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
And you just never die.
Yeah. Because this sucks.
Just everybody around you, man. It does, dude. It's all pain and suffering, and you get to experience happiness along the road.
But, like...
Because there's, like, all these different theories out there,
Yeah.
right? So, like, different dimensions and things like that, where there's just different... There's theories that are like, so you've died, like, 100 times in other people's life, But in yours, you just every time you get to that near-death experience, you survive, but somebody else's reality, you died. And then in that dimension, they're living like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I forget where I heard that question, but the dude's like, prove it. And it's like, well, people die all the time. And it's like, yeah. But like, I think it was a comedian, Bert Kreschner. He doesn't believe you die. It's like, I don't think you die, dude. We just, everything around you just dies. But you can never die.
I mean,
I'll never believe that, just for the plain fact of like insanity. But
you're thinking
gotta
like
keep my faith
in the Indian aspect of like reincarnation, to where like you die, but then like you don't die. Your body might die, but like
your soul
just moves on,
gets put in somewhere else,
to someone else, like to someone, a new baby, whatever. Then like, okay, I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that, but if like the spiritual thing, like with like my grandfather, like he died, he's still him on the other side,
right? He was just taking and that's what I.
But then
believe
that's
in.
where I said, was it my grandfather?
Right. It just took the form of your grandfather. That's what I believe in. I believe that the other side is more of like a energy, and things show up in different ways.
Well,
that's
what,
what I kind of believe in.
We're not, like, this isn't us. Like, we're not really, like, this isn't here.
Right. Nothing's a solid.
It's all fucking vibrations.
It's all
sound waves,
energy, vibration, and then we create this with our eyes, our mind,
our brain. This is what it depicts. Like, that TV isn't the TV. It's just static.
That's it.
It's crazy.
That takes me down a wormhole, though, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It
to
does.
Think about.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like, science has proven.
Yeah.
That is true. Like, everything's made up of these little atoms and
so it's like,
light and.
But to try and like.
What about heaven and hell?
Trying to wrap your head around it, it's just
impossible.
Yeah.
I think that's what causes insanity sometimes in people.
Yeah.
Right? They get too deep.
Like, that's why I try not to think about it too much, because it's like, it's a never-ending list of questions. It never ends.
I don't think there's an answer.
That's the thing.
There's no answer.
Your question is always answered with another question. And it just continues.
And you can just keep going and going and going and going. And that's why I narrowed it down to my meaning of life is to pursue
the heaven and hell
something.
Thing?
Yeah, heaven and hell. Like, is that keeps me grounded.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Just keeps me grounded.
I definitely think that there's something after this. Do I believe in a heaven and hell? I don't know.
Like, are you punished for...
I mean, if that's the case, well, fuck.
Right. We're going to hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would, from this moment on, I would have to do nothing but good for the rest of my life. Not one bad thing. To try and even it out. I've done a lot of freaking bad.
Me too, man.
So
to possibly be accepted into heaven.
For the possibility. Like, if they do like how Muslims, it's everything goes into a book. You have a good book and a bad book. And then when that time comes, you come in front of God or whoever, they're standing there, they weigh your books.
And whichever one's heavier
is how you get in. If your good book outweighs your bad book, you get in. If your bad book outweighs your good book, you go to hell.
And that's where I have it up. And I think that's the big issue right now within the world is we have this superior morals. Everyone thinks their morals are more superior than everybody else's morals. And who's the judge of that? If we're not, because religion's really not here much anymore, dude. So like, where are you basing your morals off of? In my opinion, like I don't, and I have my morals. I have my values that I've written down. Yeah. I've went through them, and that's my foundation. And I won't step aside from those things just because I know where that can lead me to.
Yeah.
And I just don't know who would be the judge of that. And I feel like it's, at least in life, dude, it's me.
Yeah.
I have to live with that. There's nothing harder than living with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, you went to Florida, you came here. The only thing about moving, you can move, but
You
the
take
problem
yourself
with
with
moving
you.
is
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to take yourself
Yeah,
with
you
you. Right? You can run away as much as you want, but when you run away, you're coming with yourself.
And you can try and create a new person, but like
A fake you.
the foundation of you, you can't change it.
No, you have to destroy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with me, at least. Like, I had this foundation. I thought I did,
And like you
until
could
I
have,
got rid of
like,
it.
If you're gonna talk like psychology, like you could do it's possible to have like split personality or like a multiple personality thing to where like you might have different foundations for different facets of people. But like there's always going to be something that you take from each. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just like
Completely ignore it.
Something's always going to overlap. It's impossible to just completely separate. Something's got to overlap to where like how they say like, oh, a cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater. You might change the person you are, but like that part of you is going to overlap. And you might not cheat on your spouse, but you're going to cheat somewhere in different areas in your life.
Yes. So that was me, dude. That was my life. Like, I cheated on my ex, like,
yeah.
And that's one thing that like I had to forgive myself for, and you know, through AA and everything, I was able to do so, but I could never apologize to her.
Yeah.
I was never able to reach out to her because it would have hurt Kristen, right? So I never, got to do that. And I wish her the best of luck, and I pray for her sometimes too. But somehow, dude, like I was able to overcome that. Yeah. But there's always things in life where I'm trying to get the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always trying to get the edge, but I stay grounded, dude. Like now, I don't know.
So like people like us, like we have to be, because we're fucking nuts, and like we like to go to the extremes with things.
Everything.
So like if we don't remain grounded, it can get out of control very quickly.
Very fast.
And then to try and rein it back in is extremely difficult until it blows up in your face and you lose everything.
It's the only way to grow, though, man.
Yeah. So
right?
That's what happens a lot of the time.
I think the best thing that ever happened to me was losing everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do. No matter how hard it was, dude, that was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking for quite some time. I don't even know how long it's been. So let me end on this, dude.
Yeah.
Anybody that's going through a problem right now with addiction, what advice would you give somebody like that? If somebody's dealing with it right now.
Reach out for help. Humble yourself. Reach out. Ask for help. Nobody can do it by themselves. Nobody can do it on their own. It's impossible. You may think you can. You may try. You're going to fail. I couldn't tell you how many times I've tried to do my own thing and it just continuously fail. Just drink. Just smoke weed. Just this. Just that. You need to reach out. You need to ask for help. You need to remain humble. If you could do that, that's the biggest step. Once that happens, everything else kind of just falls into place. Kind of give up. Let somebody else in the driver's seat for a little bit. And just take some direction. Take some freaking advice from somebody. Because, like, what you're doing isn't working. Whatever the fuck you're doing, it's not working. And you're in a position that you're in now because of you and no one else.
Yep.
So it's time to just let somebody else fucking take control for a little bit. And as you grow as a person, you can kind of take control of your own life again. But right now, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're screwing up. And it's okay. It's all right. You learn from it. You move on, you grow, and you learn. but you need to just remain humble. Ego and pride is our biggest fucking downfall, especially as a man and a human. Not even a man, just a human being. Ego and pride is our biggest downfall. It gets in the way of everything. Trying to apologize, trying to do something in life, it'll get in the way. And you just need to remain humble and just let ego and pride to the side and ask for help. That's pretty much it, man. Just fucking ask for help.
Just ask for help.
Because if not, you're doomed. If you don't ask for help, you're doomed. There's no way around it. It is what it is.
And most people, I would assume, have somebody, especially, I think, dude, like, statistically, 1 out of 7 people in America are going to battle addiction.
Yeah.
Which is
I got
absolutely
multiple people in my family
insane.
alone.
Dude,
You know
most
what I mean?
of all of our friends and a lot of people in my family, my wife's family, there's so much addiction there, dude, and everybody. I think the hardest thing, dude, and I agree with you, dude. I think the hardest thing is admitting it.
You don't even have to know the person. You can go to a meeting. You can go ask somebody for help. Anybody. Yes, fucking humanity is fucked up right now.
We're doomed.
But there are good people. There are people willing to help. Just go ask.
I think that most people do have a good heart, dude.
Yeah.
I like to think that most people are good and they have good intentions.
Yeah.
But yeah, ask for help. Feel free to message me.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to either of us, I'll get you in touch with us.
Yeah.
And we'll get you some help. Well, thanks, Ed.
Of course, man.
And
thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, brother.
Definitely, man. I love you.
Love you too, man.
I hope everybody's having a good time so far. For everyone that doesn't know me, my name is Bill, and I'm the alcoholic. I'm sorry. Usually when me and Ed are standing in front of a group of people talking, that's how we introduce ourselves. But you don't just wake up one day an alcoholic. You do get to have some fun first. Like drinking a case of beer and Ed putting his hand on the dartboard, let me throw a dart through it. Probably a little bit fun for me when I'm still entertaining. Ed also learned how to manipulate the system. He used to bring his own coffee kegs so he didn't have to pay $5 like everybody else. He'd always find a way to get drunk for free. There's also a lot of other stories, but I don't think I should share for Eddy's sake or because we're getting too blacked out to remember. However, one of Eddy's favorite things to do is exaggerate stories. So when he told me he met a gorgeous Greek woman and did not believe him until I met Lenny and saw how beautiful you were. So I had to ask Eddy how much you were paying for your citizenship. I'm just kidding, I know you wanted that to pay. Alright, that's enough of that. I know some of you traveled a long way, even as far as Greece. Let's talk about that now. This year I was invited to Greek Easter where I was able to meet some of you. You guys really made me feel welcome and a part of the family from the moment I walked in the door. Nico and Dimitri, Lenny's cousins, talked me into eating go-karts. Besides that, I had a great time. With all joking aside, this is an honor. I am privileged to be the best man tonight. Ed and Lenny, you two made a beautiful couple, and Eddy is a lucky man to be able to call you his wife. I was supposed to be the best of luck, which I honestly don't think you'll need. Now, we can all raise your glasses.
Absolutely.
To the happy couple, may your happiness be complete, and marriage long and prosperous, and everybody speaks to you and you. Cheers.
Cheers.